Hey guys, welcome back to day 2 of our Week of Flowers series at Polly's Paper Studio. I am Ginny, and today we are going to talk about filler flowers. Now, that has been the second most requested video topic that we have gotten because I make my own and I use them along with focus flowers. And for me, a focus flower is a ready-made flower like these that come from Little Birdie Crafts. I really think they are very special, and so they are going to be the star of this arrangement. But what I need to do to fill it in and make it a nice, generous amount of flowers is include fillers. So this is what I created to fill in the arrangement. I'm using some dies and some specialty tools to make these, but it really is not hard. And I usually make a lot of them when we have a sport game on or a thing is on TV, and I drag my table into the living room and I just assembly line them and do a lot of cutting, and it goes so fast when you're doing it all in an order, and then I can have them on hand when I need them, which I usually use them every day. So let's talk about the supplies that we're gonna need. So what I've got to create these flowers are some dies that I picked up from Cherry Lynn Designs. I know that we have been having a little trouble reaching that website. I did reach out to my contact, and she shared with me that they changed their name, and I do not remember what it is right now, but I will link it in the description below. And then she also shared with me that some of the things they have stopped carrying in their shop, but a lot of it they still have on Amazon. So that is a place to look. If you shop through Amazon, you can get a lot of the Cherry Lynn dies there, and then maybe they'll have something in the new website that will work for your project. So these are 2, and I'm not even going to name them because I don't know what they're going to be, but they're basically 5 petal flowers. There's 2 different sizes here. And then the petal is just slightly different, but it's the same basic concept for both. This one is meant to make a tea rose, so you would normally shape them and stack them and twist them all together and shape them into a rose. And this one I think is meant to be a Sweet William, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure, but I think any 5 petal flower die will work as long as the petals are separate. You see how that's all separate? If it just had a nub on the end, then it wouldn't shape correctly. So for the first one, that's the one I used on the card that I showed, is going to be this one. And I'm not going to assemble it like it's meant to be. I just want it to be I want it to be flat because I'm stacking them. Is that focused? I'm stacking them in between. So I don't want a lot of bulk that will prevent them from going underneath the other flowers. So I'm just going to shape around. This is 65 pound weight cardstock, and I've got that little mat to cushion it, and then this is just a flower shaping tool. I'm using the middle largest one, and that is going to give the end of the petal a cup. I think you could even stack them the other way and it would be pretty too, but I like them this way, and they hold the prills that we're going to use to finish them. So for mine, I used 2 on each. This will cut a 5, so I usually just run it through twice, and then I can have 5 full flowers. And then I'm gonna use this small punch. It's a 1/2 inch. This is what I use when I make my reinforcing dots. And I need just something to attach that to. So I'm going to pull out that Tombow Mono Multi. I use this over the other glues just because I have good success with it. It has a small enough applicator that you don't splooge the glue all over and crazy. You want to add it just around. I don't know if that will even show on camera, but you see I've just got a little bit, and then I'm gonna tap it onto that circle, and that will give me something to glue them to. If it helps keep your fingers out of the glue, use your offset tweezer. And you can see that this flower has picked up a little bit of color on the edge because I used my die cutting machine to make Halloween project, but you can just scrape that off pretty easily. The second one is the same way, just a little bit. What you want to do, the really nice thing about that glue is that it sets up quickly and is a very strong adhesion. But the problem with that glue is that it sets up really quickly and it has a strong adhesion. So you have to kind of get it right where you want it. There's not a lot of time to move it around. You can see now that we've created like a cup, and that's when we're gonna start adding the pearls. For mine, I usually try to match my project. One of my favorites is the Guilt Trip. But I've got like quite a few different shades. I think they would all work for the center of a flower. I just like to make a lot of them in advance, and I think that this is sort of goes with a lot of different projects. But you see they've got oranges and greens and blues and whites, and you can use the like micro beads too. These tend to be a little bit more finicky with dry air because it gets a little bit of static, so you have to just be a little bit more careful with those. Same thing with see that over here, I've got pop beads. These work great too, but like I said, that sometimes the static gets into them and it's a little bit harder to manage, but they're totally usable. And then if you like the look of the beads in the center, some of the store-bought flowers feature like really pretty beads in the middle. You want to do the same die cutting and stacking process, but instead of the Tombow Mono Multi, you switch to this like 3D matte gel because it's gonna hold better. It'll be a little bit more dimensional. The other one sort of flattens out a little bit. And then you really have to wait for it to dry. You can't be impatient with that one. But they do look pretty. I've used them before, and it just is something you want to do ahead of time so that when you're ready to work on your project, you're not waiting for that to dry. So let me pull that Guilt Trip back out. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. This tray you gotta have if you're doing anything with prills or little beads, because it will collect them and pour out of here. I've lost the top, but it works perfectly. And what I want to do is just work in the tray. Usually I have like a full tray of them, and then I work along, is just add some to the center area. Don't go crazy, just put a little bit in there and then pour these on. And what I like to do is, well, I'm working, I can just have like 10 or more of these going and then just let it sit and dry, and then come back in with the next layer. So this is just one layer done. It's pretty, but I think it looks nicer when it has two layers in the center, so it's just a little bit more raised. You wouldn't really want to do that all at once because it's just not going to dry accurately. It's going to get a little bit lopsided, or you're going to bump it and it'll shift and it won't be a nice center. So I'm going to go over, that's totally dry. once it's dry, I'm going to go over it with another coat. And then pour more of these on and let it set up. And then it's very easy to get these out. Now you just want to, I'm going to do this before I should just to demonstrate, but I'm just tap on it and those beads will come right out. And then you want to just collect them in your tray and pour them back in the container and make sure that they don't go on your desk because you will be chasing them for like ever. Here is some that I started. Like I said, when I make a big batch of them, I do one card. When this is like thick cardstock, I just do one of each color. And really, this is the perfect way to use up scraps of cardstock. These are all solid cardstock except this one. And these are solid core cardstock. I should mention that. So they don't have the white edge showing. And you all have scraps of it and you can run them through and make flowers and just have them ready. But when I do, I generally have like all different kind of flowers. These are just fillers. And then I can have them ready to use with my focus flowers. So the pre-made designer flowers, and then these what I use to fill in. So here are the ones that we just made. And they have that double layer of prills. I use the tiny die. Let me see if I can find it under this pile. This one makes this size. And for these, I only used one layer of prills because otherwise it might not be to the right scale. These are really good for if you have like a focus flower in the center. I'm just gonna, arrange the flowers going down in scale from the largest to the smallest. And these are like at the end. So the very last ones you add would be the super tiny ones. I've done the same thing in the pinks, but look, you can add the pearls too instead if you don't like the prills. For these are like flat back adhesive pearls. I don't rely on the adhesive that comes with that. I always add extra Tombow glue, or you could use art glitter glue. That would be just fine too. And then for this one, I just added like a small little scattering of tiny pearls. And it fills that in so nicely. It's such a good detail. The same thing on the red one is the larger pearl with a flat back. And then for these, if I get too close, it might not focus. There is the same pattern of the die, and then I stacked them and adhered them. Once it was dry, I used my stick pin, just like a sharp stick pin, and stuck down in the middle. And then I was able to put one stamen through. So usually you get your stamen in a bunch and there's like 150 of them and you open it and they're everywhere. But so one of them will fit through. And this is a really sweet little detail. For this small of a flower, you only want to add one because the bulk on the back that you create with the stems from the stamen is gonna cause it to be very difficult to adhere to projects. So that's just one stamen, and those are gold. I think that looks really nice with blue, and the pearls do as well. So this is my filler flower project for the day. If you didn't catch yesterday's video, we did 3 ways to dress up purchase flowers. So I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to catch that. And tomorrow we will have another flower project. So we're going to continue with our series. So you might want to check back and see what we've got going on tomorrow. I will leave a link in the description for the new Cherry Lynn Designs website. I don't know what it is yet, but like I said, you can also look for that product at Amazon, and they're get it in 2 days, so that's pretty good. And that is it for day 2. So if you enjoyed this video, give me a like, leave me a comment, and if you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.